In this video, I'm to tell you about quartile deviation. In an earlier video, I had explained the theoretical concept of quartile deviation with the help of PowerPoints. Here is a typical problem that you could have: class intervals and the corresponding frequencies. Now, what is the first step? We have to calculate the cumulative frequency. In order to calculate the CF, you have to start with the lower end. One thing that you could do is, just in order to avoid silly mistakes, is make a mark, an asterisk or a star mark at the lower end. Which is the lower end? 35. Obviously. Why? 80 to 84, 84 is the highest score, 35 is the lowest score. Now remember, the same distribution can be given as starting from 35 to 39, 40, 44 down to 80, 84. No matter where these class intervals are placed, the lower end will always be the lowest score, that is 35 in this case. So you start adding the frequencies from the lower end. This is the lower end. Now here what you have is 5 plus 11, 16 plus 15 is 31, 3 plus 3, 6, 63, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 89, 89, then you have 108, 108 plus 17 is 125, 7, 137 plus 8, 145 plus 5 is 150. Alright, what we have done is, this is the lower end. We have started adding up the frequencies. 5 plus 11, 16 plus 15, 31 plus 32 is 63, and so on up to 150. Always remember, whether the distribution starts from this end to this end, that is, I mean upper end to lower end, you always counting from the lower end towards the upper end. If this were 35 to 84, your lower end would be here, and you would calculate the CF from lower end to upper end. Whatever the case, the last value that you have, that of let's say 150 in this case, always has to be equal to n. Now with the cumulative frequencies in place, we proceed to calculate Q1 and Q3, first quartile and the third quartile. Now what is Q1? 25% of n. So n into 25%. This is same as n by 4. Q3 is n into 75%. So 25 3s are 4s are, this is always written as 3n by 4. Median would be n into 50 by 100, that would be 1 by 2, so n by 2. So median is always n by 2. Now let's say in this case what you have is n being 150, you have 150 by 4. This is equals to, let me use the calculator here. This is, just a second, 37.5. Here n is 150 by 4, which would give me 112.5. With these values, now we again move back to the cumulative frequencies. 37.5. Now I start looking for 37.5. Where would that fall? I've reached 5 in this class interval up to 16 up to 31. I need 37.5. So 37.5 would be here. So what I'll do is, for convenience, I'll just underline the class interval. This is where Q1 falls. The formula for Q1 is Q1 equals to L plus n by 4 minus FB upon FM into I. Always remember, this FB and FM is solely for convenience. Different books might use some different symbols, but this is what I find very easy to remember. Now L What is L? L is the exact lower limit of this class interval. What is the lower limit? Obviously 50 is the lower limit, exact lower limit. So I deduct 0.5. I'd explained this in the class earlier. I'll deduct 0.5 from 50. I have 49.5 plus n by 4. I have the value with me, 37.5 minus frequency below, that is the addition of all frequencies below this interval, this particular class interval. I've already done that. That is 31. See, I've gone up, adding up to here. I have that value. This is FB over here. So minus 31 divided by FM is the frequency of this class interval where Q1 lies. That is 32 into I is 5. I is size of the class interval. So how much would that be? 49, or maybe I'll just write here as you would be used to, 49.5 plus, all right, I'll just make use of the calculator here. This is equals to 1.01. 1.01. All right, 49.5 plus 37 minus this is 1.01. Okay, what I have is 0.51 and 50. 50.51. That is the value of Q1. Now I might need to use another sheet over here. We'll try to find out the value of Q3. What is Q3? 3n by 4. We had seen this value to be 112.5. I go searching for 112.5, 108, 125. So this is the class interval in which Q3 would fall. All right, now again L plus 3n by 4, rest is the same, FB minus FM into I. Remember, the rest of the formula is the same, mean, median, or later we'll see in percentiles also. The only thing that varies is this particular value. So what is the exact lower limit over here? 65 to 69. For 65, the exact lower limit is 64.5 plus the value of 3n by 4. We already have it as 112.5. 112.5 minus FB. Yes, what is FB in this case? Here, look at CF, the value over here, this is FB. Just remember one thing, if the lower end is here and you are calculating the cumulative frequency, adding it up from this direction down towards here, the value of FB would be on the other side. Always remember B is below. So below is towards the lower end of the distribution. So 108 over here divided by, what is the exact frequency over here? FM is 17. So I write divided by 17 into I is again the class interval, size of the class interval. So what I have with me is 64.5 plus, all right, let me see now, 112.5 minus 108, 4.5 into 5 by 7, 22.5 by 17, 1.32. So this is equals to, I'll just straight away, maybe write this as 1.32. So 64.5 plus 1.32. So 0.25678, 65.82. Now we come to the last step wherein we calculate the quartile deviation. QD equals to Q3 minus Q1 upon 2. What are the values? 65.82 minus Q1 is, we have just calculated, 50.51. 50.51 divided by 2. You could do this calculation. Let me see. 15.31 divided by 2, which is equals to 7.655. That is the value of quartile deviation. Let's have a recap. What we did was, here is the problem, as you might call it, that you could get in the examination. Class interval frequencies. You calculate the CF. You first find the lower end of the distribution, and then you go on adding the CF. The last value has to be equal to n. Then you go in for Q1 first, n by 4, Q3 3n by 4. Depending on the value of the n, you will get these corresponding values. Now find Q1 first, for example, where it falls, underline that class interval and just put the values in this formula: L plus n by 4 minus FB upon FM into I. Get that. Similarly, you find where Q1 falls in this class interval, where it falls in this distribution, put the values. What changes here in the formula is, instead of n by 4 you have 3n by 4, and then Q3 minus Q1 upon 2. That's it. You have the value of quartile deviation. Take a look at the PowerPoint presentation to get the theoretical background of what this value actually means.